Okay, this is number 11? I think this is number 11. Okay, so what are we doing today? We are going to do exactly what we did yesterday, but a different way. And I wanted to show you how to model a guitar body quickly, but instead of starting with an editable spline, we're just going to start with a single plane, or we could start with a box. Either way, it's going to show up similar to how we did the shell modifier to the phone stand. It's just a similar process. We could do it a couple different ways. But I'm just going to show you the modeling through an editable poly way. Now, how you choose to continue with it is up to you. But let's just get the body knocked out. This isn't going to take real long. I'm going to bounce to my desktop here. So let's open the file that I was working on last time. And if you're following along, blah, 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 weird word I said there. If you're following along, I've hidden isolated objects. If you're following along, this is what we had last time. And if you remember, we got there with just using modifiers, right? We started with an editable spline. We duplicated that spline, and then we created a cross section and a surface. So I guess I should probably rename that other file, but those are the types of modifiers you're going to need to create a surface between two splines, okay? If you don't have those, you can't really create a surface. But that's okay, because we're going to do it another way, okay? So we'll leave those modifiers on. They are pointless to us at this point because we're going to go a different direction. Ooh, sorry, I'm watching wrestling, and things are happening. I like pro wrestling. Oh, and I forgot. Hold on. My T-shirt is a Napalm Death T-shirt. That's important. All right, back to the tutorial. All right, okay. So Napalm Death is awesome. Death Metal's awesome. Something to do. Okay, so let's hide this guy. Let's open up our layer editor and just hide this guy. We've got a layer called the poly layer. Let's just add a new object to it, okay? So make sure that this green, the stack icon, is on the layer you want to create new objects, okay? We also need to turn on our image plane. We already dumped the image plane in there, and what we're going to actually do is get rid of the image plane. It actually has some horizontal and vertical segments. As you can see, if you spin through that, see how there's horizontal and vertical segments? We got these edge loops to go through. Let's get rid of those. So just right click the spinner and bam, good to go. All right, we just don't want those. We could actually edit out the background too. Maybe I should have done that. We could make it a PNG and then we'll have a transparent white, but that's fine. We're good for this. So all right, let's go into the other viewport. Our Alt W will bring us into this one. Let's zoom out. That would be mouse wheel. Or what's the other? There's a couple shortcuts for it, but I use this button up here. Again, they're down here, the navigation buttons if you want to go that route. But please, like I've said before, hit help and go into welcome screen. If you are unfamiliar with the move tools or the navigation tools, this one right here, tumble, pan, zoom, get comfortable with those because you're going to be using them all the time. Okay, so let's go into this front view here, zoom out, and let's just throw down we're on the poly layer, let's just throw down a box. What do you think? Box or a plane? Let's go with a plane. Let's go with a plane. Okay, we can do a box too, it really doesn't matter. Just pop it right in the middle, just like that, okay? It's terrible, right? This is not a guitar, right? Of course it's not. But that is okay. We are going to do it one piece at a time. So let's just, we're actually going to move it in front. So let's go to the big view here and let's rotate a little bit and let's move that forward just a hair so it shows up in front of our guitar in the top view. Right there. There we go. So I'm actually on the back side. I meant to be on that side. There we go. Okay. So just snug it up right in the middle so it's close, but just so it's in front, just like that. Okay, let's go back up here and oops, let's press Alt W to blow that up. Oops, wrong one. Try to narrate all this stuff for you and screwing up. Okay, here's an awesome trick. If you want to model something, but you need to see through it. So select your object, press, I'll even bring up my keyboard here so you can see it. Press Alt X. Look at that. It is now transparent. Okay, and I'm actually going to fast forward my wrestling, so I just have something to look up at, so it's not so weird. There it is. All right. Wednesday, Dynamite. That's what I watch on Wednesdays, because I'm an adult. Okay, so zoom back in on this guy here. Let's add an editable poly. Okay, don't move it yet. That's the beauty of this. So let's just add an editable poly. Add a poly modifier. There we go. All right. And so now we're in a sub-selection. We're in vertex mode. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the keys that you want. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to position vertices in the location of, our edge loops aren't going to matter on this front piece. We're just going to line up vertices. We're going to make vertices. It's not going to be perfect, but we're going to make it perfect. Okay. So let's just start moving stuff. Let's just ballpark it. Okay, so here we go. Let's do one of those, and let's do one of these. Okay, so immediately, you can see I've lined this up, and maybe, just maybe, I might need to add a curve there. Just a little bit. This could be the camera, of course, that's bowing it out a little bit, but I don't really care at the moment. I want to lay this out first. Okay, I don't want to put too much detail. This is your blocking out stage. Okay, so I'm going to add 2 edge loops. Okay, you can just do up here. There's a swift loop tool. If you click that, see how it's putting in a loop there. You could do that, or there is a connect button. Okay, just pressing connect will divide across here. You have to have 2 edges, and you will insert an edge loop like that. It's up to you. You can use either. I like using connect. The reason I like using connect is because it will put it 50%. It'll put the halfway point between these 2 edges. Okay, so whenever I do that, hit connect, I know it's going to be halfway there. All right, so I'm going to now move these vertices kind of on the edge here, and I'm just going to kind of pick a spot, and I'm going to do that here too. I'm going to go with like that. Now, these edge loops might be a little crazy. Like that's stretching quite a bit. But these won't matter because later we're going to cut into this shape. So, even we could even do this. We don't even care. We just remove this because we're crazy. Oops, I didn't mean to insert vertex. We can just do that, right? Maybe we select this. Maybe we say insert vertex. I haven't done that in a while. There you go. So now I got a vertex there, right? So look at that. There's a vertex. And I could bring that up here. Okay, or I could put it right there. I'm going to put it right there, because then I can put one halfway there if I want. Okay, let's see what other tools we have. We got connect. Oh, we are in vertex mode. Let's see. We could do a slice. We could do a cut. So let's say I want to put more vertices in. I could just cut from there to there. And look, I got a vertice, right? So I could just pull this vertice just like over to there, and consider that, okay, that's kind of where I need to start making this next loop, right? We're just boxing this in. I mean, we could get rid of this edge too. It doesn't even matter. We could just do one of these and just hit remove again, right? We could do this to our heart's content. We could, let's see, what other things could we do? We could extrude. All right, so let's highlight this edge here. Hold shift on your keyboard. I'll just so you can see what I'm doing here. Hold shift and click and drag. And we could do that. Make sure that vertex gets way up there. Okay. This is just another way, and we could select these down here, hold shift, and we could drag that down too. We'll get some more faces. There's a lot of ways to put in topology. Okay. It's really what is most comfortable to you. So like right here, I need to put some edge or some vertices in here, right? So I could hit this, I could select these, and I could hit the connect tool, but instead to connect, I could just put a couple segments in, I guess. That'd be cool. Let's do that. Let's flip it back. Oh, we could even just move this edge, right? We could just put that there. Like, that saved us a second. And then we could do this and over there and one of those over here. There are a ton of, okay, so now we got some overlap, right? This is a problem because we got some edges in here. So we don't really need edges right now. So let's just remove these edges because it's going to keep the vertices. See? It's going to keep the vertices. There's still some overlapping, so still you want to be smart about where you place them. So we could put it right there. But the point is, we want to start lining up to get the vertices in the right position. So I'm going to do one of these, put it right there. And I could even, what was that? Go to edge, and I could insert some vertices if I want. Like, yeah, you could do it on border. You could do it on polygon. I think edge is what we did it on. Yeah, insert vertex. We could just go along here and pop in a couple, right? Let's do that. And now let's go back to vertex mode and let's pull these down into a competent place. Maybe we'd put one more in there so we really round this out, but the rounding out, it's gonna really, oops, it's really gonna come into play when we give this depth, because right now it's just a two-dimensional object, right? It's nothing. It's just a flat plane. In fact, let's take a look at it. Let's just zoom out here. Alt W to get into your three-dimensional view. And let's go back into this one. Let's blow it up. Let's isolate just so we can see it. That looks like garbage, doesn't it? Total garbage. So let's just get rid of these edges here. Just hit remove. Like I said, these don't really matter because what we're going to be doing in the end is just kind of outlining it. It's similar to what we did with the editable spline, right? So let's just keep going about this. And we can divide it as many times as we want. So let's put in some vertices. And we just put in a pant load of vertices and then we'll just take them out. If we have too many, too bad. So let's say insert vertex. We're in edge mode. Let's put one there. Let's put one there. Let's move down and let's just put a few in here just to save us some time because we're going to have to put more in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good enough. Okay, now switch over to vertex mode. And let's just put this here. We'll chamfer that so that we'll get a nice round edge there. We'll bring this down here. And this is just simple outlining. This is easily something you could do. If you are knowledgeable in Illustrator, same thing, right? I could even chamfer this, round it, right? Let's see how many segments we want to add into this rounding. Like there, like that looks kind of nice. 3 of them, good enough, right? That's round. Let's do the same thing here. So let's pull this guy over to like, oops, we got an edge. Nope, this is the edge. I think we got some laying on top of each other. Oh, it's because of that weird shape. We are going to need an edge that goes through the middle, or we're going to get this weird... Oh, looks like it fixed itself. Weird. Okay. So we just need to pull these down. Yeah, there we go. It's kind of just like pulling a sheet over. And I'm on commercial for my wrestling. So I'm going to move that forward. But you don't get to see it. There we go. Okay. Wrestling is good. All right, so let's pull this guy down to the corner here, and we'll do the same with the other one. Pop it on that corner, like so. And just get it as close as you can. It doesn't need to be perfect right now. And then we could, let's actually get rid of some of these. We don't need as many of those. That was just an idea. We will actually smooth that with a nice chamfer, I think. That's a weird thing it's doing there. Actually, we'll probably get rid of a couple more because we just need these edge ones here on the other side. So let's move this guy over. Drop it right there. Let's put this guy right there. And then that one might need a little bit of a chamfer just to round it out. Let's get rid of these. Remove. And let's check out the edge here. Edge looks good. We could just insert one vertex. And let's bring it down to like here. Maybe there. And let's just maybe chamfer it. But let's up it quite a bit. So we'll get a little bit of an arc, and then we'll have to put in another one. Okay, so that got us partially there. But we'll still need to round it out, so it's not perfect yet. It's kind of like how many of the ones we had before on the editable spline. So it's close. We should do this top one up here, and we should do the other one. And this one, we want it to be a nice rounded curve. So let's chamfer this one quite a bit here. Let's check it out. So hit chamfer. Maybe we can get the software to do it for us nicely. No, it's not going to do it. Sometimes you can guess where the vertex is going to be, and then you can kind of like get a nice chamfer out of it. Like it'll do the round shape for you. So we'll try that again. No, it's not big enough. It's close though. It's very close. So we'll do that. And you might want to line these up so you could use your snapping tool, because this is going to be your neck here. So snap that to that so it's perfectly vertical. Keep these vertical because that's where the neck is going to go. So maybe pop it up like that. Just give yourself visual markers. And we'll want to do the same thing here. So let's snap that into the same y-axis like that. Those are lined up. And this will be kind of like the base of the neck on that side, or the start of the neck on that side. And now let's just finish rounding this out. Now we can add some more vertices when we're ready, but for now, I mean, I probably want to add one here because that looks like it pulls in a little bit, but we will go over it a few times because we want to get it real nice. So we can bring this guy down. Maybe pull this guy over. Maybe chamfer that one more time, but it looks like this guy's a little off here. So definitely, these are spaced out so big. So I would chamfer this and up it because the leap between vertices means the leap between edge loops later. So it's just, try to have like a consistent distance. So let's go with that. That's cool. And then we'll move these into place. Kind of like that. And like that. And if it's not tight enough, we can always work on that. We can always add or rearrange them however we think works the best. So this one's not lined up perfect. We can move it right there. Boom. And this one's close. It's under some stuff. As you can see right there, it's kind of under that. But it looks like I said before, there's some curvature here. So maybe we'll add a little bit to that later. So let's get this other side knocked out though. We've got this big curve here, and it looks like we want this maybe right there. So there's a nice thing you can do, and it has to do with your move tool being locked to an axis. Okay. So over here, there in the edit geometry panel, let's see if I can get this up in the corner here. There is constraints. Now I like to constrain to edge. So when I do that, even if I pull up here, it's only going to be locked to that edge. See that? Notice how I'm just pulling in the y-axis. It's awesome. Same thing is going to happen if I pull down. It's going to constrain to this edge. Okay, see that? Ooh, that's nice. That's fancy. And it's going to go up or down. Now, that's because we're constraining straight to that edge. We turn that off, and now watch what happens when we pull up. Ooh, doesn't go where we want it to anymore, does it? Nope. So when you're working on a complex model or something's going on, it is nice to constrain it to certain axes just in case. So something to think about. So like if I needed to move it perfectly on one axis and I didn't want it to move out of that axis, that's something you might want to do. Okay, so this is about halfway, and we definitely need more. This swoop is, oh, actually, let's finish this off here. So we need this guy chamfered, and I want that chamfer to kind of follow this. That's why I followed this edge, because I know if I follow that edge well enough, watch what happens. It will kind of hold me to that edge there. And I am perfectly happy with that right there. There we go. Okay, so let's fix this bottom edge, shall we? It looks like these are big jumps, right? So there needs to be another vertex here, probably here, maybe one more here, and then separate that or bring them over. Either way, the jump is too big. So we could even chamfer this guy just to add in those vertices, right? We could up it quite a bit, like maybe that far, give it some consistency. Say okay. There we go. Pull that into place. Move that up a little bit. Now, maybe... Now what we could do, let's use this edge constraint. And let's just move these down. We know they're in a good constraint. So if I drag it there, it's going to just move it down in the direction I'm already comfortable with. And let's move it over a little bit there. And a little bit, and let's take that off. So this is where we need, obviously, right here. These curvatures are too much, right? So I'm going to take this inside one. I'm going to turn off that constraint, and I'm going to hit chamfer, and I'm going to drop it down because that's way too much chamfering. And yeah, that's how many segments I want. I'm cool with that. And then I'm going to go up like so. And because that curve was so mighty, you know, it's and I want it to look smooth. You're just going to want a little more detail, and that means a little bit, that means more, you know, edge loops, just more topology. So we're probably going to want another one right here as well. These ones swoop a little further, so I think we're okay with that. You know, the more you mess with it, you'll always see something to work on. So like this one here, I mean, that could use one as well, I think, because it's overlapping just a little bit. So right there, you can see it probably put one in there. So let's chamfer this guy. And we'll bring it down, and we'll just use that extra vertex. We don't need to like use it for the shape it's going to make. We're just going to pull it up there. So let's pull this guy over. I hope you can see this. I know the vertices are really small. I hope this wasn't a complete waste. And bring that right there. Okay. Tra-la-la-la. Yeah, the closer we get, the more I want to add more vertices, because I feel like I just want this. Let's just add one more vertex right in the middle here. I just want this swoop to be very detailed, very accurate. So like that. All right, so let's zoom out and see what we got. Maybe bring this one over down the edge just a little bit, like maybe there. Maybe that one too. And this edge is pretty shallow, so we can pull that one over. And then this is where the edge starts getting really sharp, or it starts getting really rounded. So I think that looks good. Maybe this one could go like right there, and then maybe up a little bit. Like that. And like that. So I'm nitpicking because I do that, you know, working in this all the time. Okay, so let's add these little subtle chamfers real quick. So down here, it looks like we've got a nice little, you know, a little bend here. So we can add that in. So we'll do one. Let's do insert one vertex right here. Go back to vertex mode, pull it out. And we could just kind of, and we'll chamfer it, but maybe we'll just add one segment. Or, yeah, let's just add one. And let's drop it down because it's disappearing because the amount is so much. It's running into the other vertices. There we go. Okay, so let's do that. Say okay. Maybe move it over just a smidge. All right, that looks good. Maybe that one needs to go in just a little bit. It's kind of oblong. There we go. Is that cool? Does that look good? Something like that. Ah, we should probably add a vertex there. God. It's just, you know, You never know when you're doing it without a script. Just kind of making it up as you go, but this is a technique. Might not be your technique. You might like to go with the splines, but I think they're kind of just as fast either way. Now we got a rogue vertice over here. I don't even know we need that vertice, so you could target weld it to another one, because that was weird. Let's undo that. That was weird. Is there an edge in there? Undo. Let's just say remove. Good enough. Okay. And let's do the same thing up here. So let's insert a vertex on this edge right here. Did we get two? Whoops. I think I selected it, so I added two. Did I add two or one? Just one. Okay. I'll pull it up like that, and then let's just chamfer it to get two. Maybe bring it down a little bit, bring them together. There. That looks good. This is a big swoop, so actually you probably want to divide this maybe into 4. Same with this, maybe divide this into 6. And the same thing on this side. Like here, probably divide that into 2 or 3, and then same thing here. Maybe add a little bit more here, because these are a detailed, what do you call it? It's kind of a detailed surface there with the swoop and everything. So just make sure you give it plenty of edges to make it look pretty. Is that good? I don't know. Probably want to chamfer a couple of these, but so let's just say this is, well, let's finish that up here. Okay, so let's do a insert vertex right there. Let's move it over right there, and let's chamfer that guy. Maybe drop it down a little bit. Doesn't need to be that far apart. Just for that little subtle rounded area there. And make sure this one definitely has it. So let's go here. And let's make sure we move on the edge. So constrain like that. Make sure it goes up there. And then we'll do the same thing. Let's add the vertex. Insert. Go back to vertex mode. And let's chamfer again. Say OK. And then just pull that guy out. Oops, the edge constraint is still on. Make sure you're very aware of those, because they will screw up things you're trying to do if you forget they're on. Okay. That is good enough. We will add more, we'll round out these edges in time. Not right now. We're just getting the body shape, and we'll know in a minute here where we need to add more edges. Okay, and something here and here. We'll do that. But for now, let's do this. Let's go into your 3D view here. So with some dimensions, some angle, your perspective view there, and then blow that up. And then let's isolate this guy. Okay, so what do we got? We just have this 2-dimensional thing, right? Ugh. Doesn't look like much, but it'll look cool in a second. Okay, so now it's up to you if you want to leave the press Alt X so you have it back to normal, to not being transparent. It's only transparent in the viewport. It's not going to render transparent, I don't think. Let's make sure. I don't think it will. That'd be weird. Yeah, it should render normal. There, that's just a viewport mode. It is called X-ray. Okay, and now, since we got this, what do you think we're going to do next? Well, we could we could grab the outline. We could grab the outline, or the border, rather. Hold Shift. Oops. Shift. And then we could drag it like so. There we go. If we drag it in the right direction, we have a three-dimensional object. So that is an option, right? I like that. But that's only, I mean, that kind of makes it even harder. So what we could do is we'll pitch that, get out of the editable poly mode, select it, and just put a shell modifier on it, okay? And let's pick a direction we're going to go. It looks like outer amount, and let's put it up to, I don't know, 7, 8, something like that. 8. And let's just pop in 8. It's good enough. It's not perfect. We just need it as an example. So now we are observing the edges around this thing, right? So it looks okay, but what we really need to focus on here is going to be the edge loops. Because if we just turbo smooth this guy, we don't have the appropriate information for it to smooth and not smooth other things. So that's kind of a benefit with the where the different what do you call it? The different Bezier handles are. And with polygons, you have to define how this works with your smoothing groups, okay? So let's do one of these. Let's just add a turbo smooth on so you can see what I'm talking about. So make sure you have smoothing groups on, and there you go. Now the problem is it is not handling this surface well, right? Because this surface is one polygon. So it's really pulling on all sides to get that face correct. So that is something that we will handle. We're not going to handle it right now. We need to, we could do a few things to it so it's not so egregious. It actually is a problem because you can see these edges overlap right here. So like these are getting pulled in because a turbo smooth, what that is essentially dividing each polygon into 4, right? So dividing it into 4, dividing this n-gon here, that's what we would call it. N is in number, right here. This n-gon, it's a problem because there are so many faces. I mean, you divide this, it has so many edges, and then what? Divide by 4, right? Because that's how you smooth, and then you change the normals. Well, it doesn't work super good here. So we could fix that. We could just select this element. Let's turn this off, and end mode. So actually, let's flip to the other side here. What we could do, and this is what you should do, is when the time comes, you can do an inset. So just drop an inset, and it doesn't matter how much, something like that. And then what your job is here would now be to add the extra edges in throughout so that you have the accurate. So I would select maybe these two here, and I'd try to count how many edges are here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need this to kind of line up here. So let's just do a connect first. And let's pick like, I don't know, 3 or 4. Let's just say, okay. So we added those edges, and now we need this to go up. So we can actually go to edge mode. Make sure it follows along. I can't see because it's red. This is a terrible color for a guitar. So let's select this. Let's change it to like crazy yellow. Let's add a custom color so it's like vibrant yellow. Like that yellow, like in the picture. Like we had a picture of the guitar, and it would be sweet if we just made that one. So let's say add color, and let's say okay on that. Okay. No, that's actually terrible. You can kind of see the edges here. But so we have the correct amount of vertices and edges lining up. We would want to cut here, right? So let's do a cut from there to there. And all of a sudden our edges are lining up better, and we don't have such an insane n-gon anymore. Maybe blue, maybe blues. Yeah, blue's easier to see. So we would do that all the way around, right? So maybe we do that here. Just do a connect. Instead of adding in so many, let's just do one. So you could right click here, So it goes back to 0, press OK. And then we could just do a cut from here to here. That looks good. Let's do another one from here to here. Looks good. And now we're getting, well, when we add those modifiers, we won't get that crazy stretching. So let's go here. Let's do just a connect, and let's put a bunch of them on this side because remember this is really tall here. So maybe we could do like 4. So let's hit connect, and then let's up it a couple times. 1, 2, 3, like that. That looks good. This one actually needs to come up quite a bit. So we have edge constraining still on, so maybe we'll go to there. And then we'll do the same thing here because we want to match this up with this one, right? And so we could zoom in here. We could cut. And notice we have this edge here, so we're going to have to worry about these two. So we could go into vertex mode and kind of arrange these a little bit better so they don't kind of go on top of each other. So it's all about how the flow of your edges look. So we'll just bring that there. Okay, and now let's cut this in. Okay, so let's finish that. Let's go like this. And now these aren't the final resting places, right, for your edges here. It's just how we're defining this so far. So there's these edges, so we should probably cut down when the time comes. But this is fine for now. In fact, we could probably edit these out, right? We could just do something like this, and like that, and then like this, like that, and like this, and like that. Oops, that's weird. There we go. And so that edge loop, if you notice, we had the edge come in and then the edge came out. And we didn't add any extra, we didn't add any unnecessary topology to this area. So we kind of saved an edge loop there. So, you know, while we're thinking about stuff like that, let's just do it to this side too. So let's select that guy. Let's bring it down. Make sure you're moving on the edge axis constraint. And just kind of pull that down. And let's do the same thing. So let's cut the edge coming in and leaving. So let's turn on the cut tool. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do that. Don't worry about those. Let's do that and that. And let's do that and that. That's weird. It just redid that. Did it on both sides. That is weird. All right, let's make one more cut. That it undid it twice. That's weird. Okay. Anyway, so now the edge loop comes in, but it keeps the shape, but the edge loop comes in and comes out without adding more complex topology. Sorry about that. Okay, now we can start making some bigger stretches. So let's just do this cut right across the body because we had 3 on the left and we had 3 on the right. All right, so these almost match up. Oops, these almost match up perfectly, right? They do. They lined up pretty well. All right, let's add like 3 edges over here. So let's go into edge mode, select these 2, and let's hit connect, and let's add a few. That is a couple too many. We just kind of want to make sure that, oh, maybe it's not enough. We just want to, we can always take them out, but we want to just put those in. So now we can kind of follow this, bring this down. Let's zoom in. Let's get closer down here. So we want to do the exact same thing, right? We want to cut here and we want to cut here. So we need to move this guy down as well. Let's bring him down. And yeah, it'll look like there's more topology down here, but we can get rid of that real quick. And let's do the same thing here. So let's bring this up a little bit. Let's bring this up a little bit. And I like that. And we can do those cuts and work from there. So let's just cut across. Bingo. And let's do this big one. Might be a little bit much. We can always take it out later. Let's do this. let's do this guy. For some reason, I got to get out of the tool. Bring the tool up again and then make this cut. There we go. All right, so that edge loop came in and now it's gone. Didn't add any extra topology. And if you look down here, we have two vertices almost stacked. So we need to fix that right away. And then maybe that one should come up just a little bit. And we got one more edge to do over here, right? We got to get this one. There's a lot of segments we could do across here. So let's select those edges. Let's do a connect. And maybe add a couple more because that's a big stretch. Yeah, that's fine. And we can just move them into place. They don't have to be perfect. This is just an example. Just so we can get rid of that horrible look that we had without this inside, right? Because that looked pretty janky. Probably should have added this to a separate editable poly, just as an example, but that's okay. Oops. Just like that. Then bring this down and do the same thing there. I got your text. So I'm just going to work on this for a little bit longer. Talking to my wife. All right, so I am. Yeah, I was just telling you I got your text. So I'm just going to finish up in just a few minutes here. Okay, so I just moved those into place and we're going to do the exact same thing. So grab the cut tool here, click and drag, cut tool here, click and drag, cut tool here, click and drag. Same thing. Click, drag, click. And now we got this same edge loop here again. Okay, we could do the same thing. Each corner. Grab that guy. Oops, look at that. We screwed that up. Let's undo that. Let's just pick a corner. And let's do it again over here. Yeah, why does it reroute that? That's so weird. Gotta lock it in and then do it. There we go. Okay, so we got rid of that set of that additional edge looping. And so we just only have a few more, right? We only have a few more edges here that we really need to be concerned about. So let's see. Let's bring this guy down just a little bit, like right there. And we can cut across the neck. Maybe we'll add 2 and go down the body. I mean, this middle inside, it doesn't really matter as long as it's flat on this side, which it will be. I'm gonna end up leaving this flat. There's no reason to make it super complicated because we're just gonna end up cutting into this anyways to make those open spots for where the humbuckers and pickups, whatever they're called, stuff. Humbucker, is that a thing? Wherever that stuff is going to go on the inside of this guitar. So we might even end up using these edge loops. I mean, I've just canceled them out just to get them out of the way so I can subdivide this body in a nice way. But, there's so many different ways to do this. In fact, I might not even need this edge here. So I'm gonna, actually, no, I am gonna keep that. I'm gonna bring this down. I'm gonna make sure there's 2 on each side, just so I can kind of keep it even. So let's hit connect right there. Oh, there's tons. All right, so we need to reset our tool because it added like 50 edges in there. So we just need 1. Okay, there we go. So if we zoom in here, sorry I'm so far out. I know my screen's a little wide, so it makes the picture smaller. But there you go. So we have gotten rid of a majority of the excess topology that would make this complicated. So let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's duplicate what we got here on that side. Let's add another edge loop here just to make it almost symmetrical. Let's do that. Turn off your constraint because it's kind of blow everything up there. And let's just redefine this, how this is laid out here. just so we get a nice swoop. We could go into that other view and just make sure it lines up perfectly. Let's do that. Let's go into this view. Let's blow it up. And let's show everything. So let's get back up in here. And let's make sure this lines up nice. Like that. And like this. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. And let's just kind of blast through a little bit more of this. Let's see. We've got some decisions to make. How many edge loops we want to have. We could just start making cuts and we can take them out later. Like that. We could go all the way across here. Like that. Overall, I think we're going to have to go across the body. Because we've got these backside ones and terminating all those edge loops would be kind of, edge loops here. We could go here to here, or we could go there to there. It's really doesn't matter because we're just going to have these extra edges that we need to get rid of. So for now, let's just do that. And that n-gon isn't the worst thing in the world. What we could do is we could terminate a couple of them down here. Looks like they're 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5. So we could, if you have an even number of edge loops, it's a lot easier to cancel them symmetrically. So we could do this. We could just chamfer this one. That kind of freaks out the topology. Let's not do that. Let's just do this. Connect. And then let's move it down the edge with the edge constraint. Like so. And then this one, the edge constraint. I kind of screwed it up. It's not as nice and round as it was. It's so much nicer. Yeah, see, we needed to go a little bit further, it looks like, to get that nice snug bit there. And just pull these edges up so it kind of matches. You just want to keep that nice roundedness. Okay, so let's just cut right down the middle of this whole thing. So I am going to do a connect right down the middle. Say connect. So put even edge loops right down there. And I'm just going to connect it to the center here. So let's just do a cut. Now, again, these edges aren't my final thing. In fact, I might get rid of a bunch of them and kind of reconfigure them, if you know what I mean. But now we have an even number just across. So let's do that here. Oh, we didn't have any. Oh, that extra one actually didn't need to go in there. That was going to be awesome. We could actually just get rid of those. I think if we remove these, oh, perfect. Okay. So let's just move it like that. And like that. There we go. Okay. Now we got a crazy n-gon here. We can fix that by just going and cutting across this last bit right here. Look at that. We've almost got all four-sided polygons. We could fix it by just going like that and like that. There we go. We have successfully turned this front piece into all four-sided polygons. And it took us, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, not even. Um, Now, this is great just for cleanup purposes. Now, when we smooth this thing, we are not going to have that same issue. And in fact, let's just check it out. Notice how we're not getting these crazy, notice how we're not getting these crazy edges that cover up too much so that we don't get these cool, we got some, so we need to make sure that we have enough edges, or we use our smoothing groups here. But as it is, now we don't have those crazy, those edges that are like following this and overlapping, right? Because when this is one big n-gon and it's divided into four, it just goes crazy, right? But if we divide it into four-sided polygons, it's not going to go so crazy anymore, okay? So this is actually quite good. I feel like we're in a great spot. And we've got a nice inset, which means we got an edge loop that runs all the way around on this front side, which is a great place to start. But what we're going to do now, I think I'm going to save that for the next video because we're pushing an hour, coming up on an hour, and I don't think anybody's watching the whole hour of these. I bet people are skipping through quite a bit. What ends up, let's select that and get rid of the back here. So again, this is just a two modifiers. We just added a turbosmooth on top of a shell. So anywho, what I was saying is that this is just one way to get the exact same thing. Let's look at both of these right next to each other. Now, if we don't have, let's turn off that spline there. Let's get rid of that spline. We can hide that. There we go. Okay, you put these right next to each other and you turn off edged faces. Aside from the corners that got smooth, that we will address eventually. We could address them right now, right? We could just make sure if we added an editable poly here, if I just selected these top ones here, that I made them real quick a separate smoothing group, and then we'd have a harder edge here. Okay, more like the other one. So if I just cleared that, give it something else. Now we got a harder edge there. Anyways, that's something we could do, but we're gonna settle that hash next time. So the idea here is that we got two identical objects and we made them two separate ways, right? And if you don't have edge faces on, you barely know that they're different, right? So what's the difference? Well, we got a poly one here and we got a spline one here. No difference. Basically the same thing. In fact, we would probably end up doing the same treatment to this version as we just did here, right? Because now that we have this surface, we put an editable poly on it anyways, because there's not going to be a way that we could add extra geometry to it and get the same result. Now the top is different, right? We gotta build in this curve, and that's going to take a minute, because we need this backside to have that awesome swoop, and we will do that next time. That is not a problem. We can knock that out pretty easy, right? We'll just make a separate shape, extrude between the two, keep the rounded shape in between, just like we did, right? We could start with a single polygon, because that's what we did, right? We started with a four-sided polygon. Walk in the park. This is easy stuff. So many tools to pick from. It goes real quick. Yes, there are downloadable poly tools that will, like, I don't know, save you a few minutes here and there. But the way we did this is we divided it in such a way that we didn't need any fancy extra tools, did we? No, we just needed to lay out one polygon, and we needed to give it some depth, and then drop a smooth on top, and then we essentially have the same thing that we had with the editable spline. Again, we are probably going to make it an editable poly object in the end anyways. So that's where we would end up. So I think that's where I'm going to end it. Um, if there's, well, actually, so next time I think we're going to talk about putting the neck in, and then we can kind of carve out some areas for the body shapes. Like I said, we've got strings, we've got the neck board, we've got the pickups, all that stuff we need to add because they're separate objects. There is a guitar website that does this job for you. It tells you like all the pieces that you need and how to get them. I'm not really sure what these ones are. So we're just gonna copy this picture back here and what's on it. Um, but yeah, should be pretty quick. This won't take too long. We're gonna break it up though, probably at least 2 more videos so that you guys can see how that's done. That we could take it step by step, duplicating objects because there is a lot of repeated pieces in this object. So, anywho, I think that's it for today. Just so you can see it one more time, the difference between the two is negligible because we're gonna make it an editable poly anyways. It's just not really a good way around it. You could do NURBS, but then you want to tear your hair out. Like I said, the NURBS tools for 3D Studio Max are kind of old, so and haven't been updated in a while. But anywho, that's beside the point. Let's get back to this. I can see my face one more time. So thank you for watching. I hope this is helpful. Let me go to my little end panel here. Oh, that's not it. That's it. If you like what's going on here, check it out. Come back. If you don't like what I'm doing, then never come back. It's your life. Do whatever you want. Check out my cartoons if that's an interest to you. Otherwise, we're going to continue working on this next time. So thanks for watching, and yeah, see you next time.